Hello my friends and welcome back to another episode of Quick Compare, the show where we take two multi-platform games, put them side by side, and choose which one is better. This week we are looking at one of my favorite games of all time here, and that is Star Wars Rogue Squadron. And for those of you who don't know what that game is, it is an arcade flight sim set inside the Star Wars universe and is just all around amazing. I might like it a little too much, it's okay. I'm okay with that. Anyway, today's game request came from Ancient GameStar from over on my Discord server. Thank you again so much, Ancient, for this request, and I am very happy to once again be tackling any subject matter involving Star Wars Rogue Squadron. So, let's dig in. Star Wars Rogue Squadron was released on N64 and PCs back in 1998. It was so fun to play, so many levels, and just a ton of content. They even had the Star Wars Episode 1 Naboo Starfighter hidden inside the game for months before it was finally revealed to actually be a part of the game when Episode 1 finally released. Like, one of gaming's best kept secrets. It's so good. But as far as it comes to PC versus N64 differences, there's a fair amount. I mean, to be expected, PC runs at a much higher resolution and frame rate, especially on modern computers. You can mod the game to run up to 4K, but by default, the maximum resolution is 1280 by 1024, and that's the resolution we're sticking with here. I don't like to delve into mods in this show because if it's not something the end user can replicate easily, it is not indicative of an actual experience most people are going to have. So we're just sticking to stock Steam version of Rogue Squadron 3D. 1280 by 1024, 60 FPS, the game looks and runs phenomenally smooth. And how about that N64 version though? I mean, it's running at 640 by 480 interlaced, so 480i. And it definitely looks a little chunkier compared to what you get on PC. Frame rate is also much lower, chugging along anywhere between 20-25 FPS. Like, it's not a very smooth experience when you line it side by side with the PC version. Outside of resolution, pretty much everything about this game is identical compared to between the two versions. So models are basically exactly the same, draw distance is the same, texture quality is virtually the same. Like, there's not really much in the way of differences between actual visual assets, just that resolution bump that really helps smooth over everything on the PC version, and of course the added frame rate really make a huge difference. One of the defining characteristics of Rogue Squadron for me growing up was the fact that the game was fully voiced. Like, we had seen that with Star Fox 64, but not many N64 games utilized a ton of voice acting at the time. So having Star Wars Rogue Squadron be completely voiced over was incredible to me. Factor 5 came up with their own compression algorithm that actually ended up being ported to a bunch of different games like Pokemon Stadium, among others. So this technology was really fascinating to be able to include so many voice samplings inside of a limited sized N64 cart, as well as a full Star Wars soundtrack pulled directly from movies along with some original stuff. Like, this game really pushed the N64 to its utmost limits, and it was phenomenal. It was just a great experience. Unfortunately, on the PC side, it is a direct port of the N64's audio assets, so there's literally no difference between them. So there's unfortunately no higher quality music or high quality sound files when it comes to running this game on the PC version. Like, I really can't tell a difference between the two when I'm playing them. As far as included content is concerned, both games are virtually identical. They have slight differences between the cheat codes available, and the ATST bonus mission that is present on the N64 version does not happen to be present on the PC version, but instead, on the PC version, you can literally play the entire game as an ATST. It's really funny. Most levels are completely unplayable with this thing, but it's still so fun to try. Like, it's pretty cool. It's time to dig into my biggest gripes about each version of Rogue Squadron here, because neither version I would consider definitive, because the PC version, while it looks good and runs beautiful, has a ton of AI issues that make the game so much ridiculously easier than the N64 version. Likewise, the N64 version includes a pretty annoying flaw in it, and that is the fact that on certain levels, your lasers will literally pass through the object you're shooting at and hit what's behind it that you're supposed to be protecting. This is obviously most notable on Darian, and it's irritating because the N64 version, it's honestly the more challenging of the two games, and it is the one I prefer to play, but having this glitch in there always bugs me so much. Like, it's unfortunate. It really is. The last thing I want to touch on here before we get into our conclusion is controls. Playing Rogue Squadron with a modern controller on PCs feels amazing. The control stick is much more responsive and much more precise. So the time has finally come to decide our winner in the great debate of Star Wars Rogue Squadron PC versus N64. And honestly, you're going to be surprised by me saying this, but winner for me, hands down, N64 version every time. Despite horrible controls, horrible frame rate, horrible resolution compared to the PC version, the added challenge and the better AI win it out for me every time. The PC version is just too easy. Like, it's not as enjoyable to play through it on a regular basis. It's too simple. It's too it's just too easy. I can't do it. I need the challenge that the N64 version provides, and to me it is absolutely worth it to have those performance hits for that added difficulty. So there you have it, my friends. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, dislike button, depending on how much you like this video. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that way you can be notified of more awesome content like this. So thank you again, everyone, for all of your continued support of me, my channel, Quick Compare as a whole. I really enjoy making these. I love that the whole thing is request driven, so thank you again for that. If you have any requests you'd like to see, always leave them in the comment section below. And until we see you all next time, have a great freaking day.
Take an early morning run over Moss Isley with Wedge Antilles, but keep your eyes open for any suspicious activity.
Good morning, Wedge. The rest of Rogue Squadron is still back at base, but I thought we could take an early morning run through Beggar's Canyon. Luke, I think we've got a problem. Is that my imagination, or are those Imperial probe droids dead ahead? They're attacking, though? Hey! Moss Isley is under attack. We need... Hey! Moss Isley is under attack. We need to assist. We did it! We saved Moss Isley! Nice work, Rogue Squadron. We might make a name for ourselves after all. We did it! We saved Moss Isley! Nice work, Rogue Squadron. We might make a name for ourselves after all.
Escort valuable rebel supplies through dangerous Imperial territory over the humid lands of Barkesh. Rogue Squadron, this is General Riken. One of our shuttles will rendezvous with a small convoy from local resistance on Barkesh, which must first travel through Imperial territory. They carry equipment and supplies vital to the rebellion. Your mission is to rendezvous with that convoy and escort it to the landing zone. Good luck.
Luke, we've already got trouble. Probe through it. Take your targets and go. Good shooting. I'm hit.
All right, Rogue Group. The supply vehicles have begun moving. Their escort will follow shortly. The smaller craft are the combat vehicles. Take with the 5 transports.
Watch for enemy fighters.
Commander, this is Riken. It's imperative you stay with the supply vehicles.
Sector fire! The shuttle is clear. She'll pick up the rest of this cargo. The Rebel Alliance will appreciate those supplies, especially after we lost Yavin Base.